The possibility of a bipartisan commission to investigate the Capitol riot seems increasingly less likely, just as the Senate prepares to leave for Memorial Day weekend. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell again spoke out against the creation of a bipartisan investigation into the Capitol insurrection. He argues there are other probes already underway and that an independent commission is not necessary.
I do not believe the additional extraneous commission that Democratic leaders want would uncover crucial new facts or promote healing. Frankly, I do not believe it is even designed to do that. And I'll continue to urge my colleagues to oppose this extraneous layer when the time comes for the Senate to vote.
The two senators close to the ideological center, Maine's Susan Collins and West Virginia's Joe Manchin, insist it is crucial for lawmakers to get to the bottom of what happened in the Capitol riot.
We owe it to the brave men and women who defended our lives that day, and in some cases did so at the cost of their lives. And that's why I feel so strongly about that.
Basically, the Democrats have basically given everything they've asked for, any impediment that would have been there, and there's no reason not to now, unless you just don't want to hear the truth.
Senator Manchin added that a lack of GOP support for the commission is not a reason for Democrats to end the filibuster. But a number of former lawmakers and top defense officials say a commission is necessary to prevent future attacks. One of those supporters of a commission is Chuck Hagel. He is a former Republican senator from Nebraska who served as U.S. Secretary of Defense from 2013 to 2015 under President Barack Obama. And he joins me now from McLean, Virginia. Secretary Hagel, welcome to Red and Blue.
Thank you.
In a recent op-ed, you laid out why you are in favor of a January 6th commission. Why do you believe it's necessary?
Well, picking up on what Senator Manchin and Senator Collins just said, a commission is necessary to get to the truth, not just for the police officers, the Capitol Hill police officers who were there and who defended members of Congress, the vice president, but for America, for the citizens of this country. Our Capitol, which represents the center of democracy in America, was attacked and occupied. People were injured, died. Over 400 warrants have been issued for the people's arrests. We've never had that ever in the history of this country. It's unprecedented. And what Senator Manchin said, what are we afraid of? Why are we afraid of the truth? We should get the truth. It's not an extraneous commission like Senator McConnell said. It's modeled after the 9/11 Commission. And there was a reason for the 9/11 Commission, just like there was a reason for the Warren Commission and other commissions we've had. An independent study of not just what happened, but why did it happen? You know, we had active duty military and police, active duty policemen in this country who were there that day. All of society is part of this. What happened? What's happening to our society? How can we just look the other way? Senator Johnson says, well, I don't think it was that big a deal. Obviously, he wasn't watching to see what was going on. You know, we hold ourselves up as the greatest democracy in the history of mankind. And I think that's true. Not that we don't make mistakes, we do. But we self-correct. But we're honest about mistakes we make. And when we've done something or something's happened that's been wrong, we've taken a look, a hard look, to find out what's the cause of all of this, what's drawing the issues here. This is not to blame people or to assign blame. It's not Republican, it's not Democrat, it's American. And I just add one other thing. Each member of Congress takes an oath of office. They take an oath of office to the Constitution, not a political party, not a president, not a political philosophy, but to the Constitution, the people, the country. And that's what should be the guiding focus here. If nothing else is the guiding focus, that should be your North Star. That's the compass. Do what's right, and this commission is the right thing to do.
I want to ask you more about extremism in the military in just a moment, but you have called on Nebraska's Republican senators, Deb Fischer and Ben Sasse, to vote for this commission. Interestingly, initially some Republican lawmakers, like House Minority Leader McCarthy, advocated for a commission. Why do you believe Republicans are so opposed to this now?
Well, I suspect it's because of the fear that they still have of former President Trump and his political reach. And I think they're intimidated by that. They're intimidated by what they fear may come out that associates what happened on January 6th in the Capitol with the president or Republicans. I think that's not the right way to look at it, because the commission is not built that way. That's not the intent of the commission. As I said, it's not a Republican or Democratic issue. It's an American issue. And I think if you follow the Constitution, if you follow your responsibilities as a public servant, serving this country, the privilege you have to serve this country, I think you owe it. I think you owe it to the citizens of this country to explain what happened, why did it happen, how deep is this in our society? Are we just going to look the other way? This was an historic day in our country, and we've had historic days. We recognize those, and it was a bad historic day. And we, for the good of the country, for the good of our future, we need to understand why this happened.
I do want to ask you about extremism in the military. Nearly 50 active and former service members have been charged in connection with the January 6th attack. Defense Secretary Austin recently told our David Martin that the issue, quote, can erode the great respect that our American citizens have for our military. How would you like to see the Pentagon address this?
Well, I've spoken with Secretary Austin about this, and it's a serious issue. It's a big question. I don't know how much extremism has seeped into our military. We know there's some. We know some of our military, very small percentage, were present that day at the Capitol, in the Capitol, that attacked the Capitol, occupied the Capitol. We need to go back and review with all our men and women who have the privilege to serve this country in uniform, as to what their role is. You can have your political views. You can believe what you want to believe. But when you put that uniform on and you take an oath of office to the country, protect this country, that's your focus. That's your responsibility. And the depth of this extremism issue in the military, I don't know. I hope it's not very widespread. I hope it's not very deep. I don't think it is. But we need to pay attention to it, and it has to come from the top. It has to come from Secretary Austin himself, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and that's the way it works. And explain to our men and women in uniform, this is wrong for your country. If you want to serve this country in this special capacity that you're serving this country, you can't engage in any of this foolishness. It's just too dangerous. It's just not right. So I think that's the approach that you've got to take. Take it seriously, look at it, uncover everything that's out there that has some relation to extremism.
As Secretary of Defense, you oversaw operations in Afghanistan, and I'd like your thoughts on the U.S. decision to withdraw troops entirely. The New York Times reports 26 outposts and bases have surrendered to the Taliban since May 1st. Do you agree with the White House's assessment that there is no military solution to the challenges in Afghanistan?
I do agree with that assertion. I saw it up close. I made many trips to Afghanistan. When I was in the Senate, certainly when I was Secretary of Defense. And you can't impose democracy, a way of life on people through the end of a gun. We've been there 20 years. We've asked our military to do things our military cannot do. Our military has done tremendously well. But this is a diplomatic issue. This has to be solved by the people themselves. They have to sort it out. Yes, there's a role for the military. And we played that role for 20 years. The Americans paid more than $2-3 trillion in money went into Afghanistan to help build a country, nation build, help build an armed force, an Afghan armed force. We did everything we could do. And so we can't just continue this for another 20 years. Somebody has to call it for what it is. Now, the threats that emanate from Afghanistan, certainly that we saw on 9/11, threats are still there, but it is totally different today. The threats to this country, 2021 versus 2001, 20 years later. I mean, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, they're not just in Afghanistan, they're all over the Middle East. They're all over. So we've got threats to this country, to our way of life, that come from all areas of the world. Yes, we're going to continue to support Afghanistan, as we should, as the NATO forces will, but we're not going to continue to fight their war for them. And I think the White House was right on this. I applaud the president's courageous decision to make the decision he did. It was courageous because it has drawn a lot of criticism and flack. It is imperfect, but it's the right thing. And that the approach that they're taking, the diplomatic channel, is the only thing that can work. It's the only thing that's ever worked in situations like this.
In our final minute, I also want to ask about the late Senator John Warner of Virginia. You served alongside him in the Senate. How do you think he'd like to be remembered?
John Warner was the consummate senator's senator. I was very close to John Warner. I admired him greatly. I went to him for so much advice over the years, and he will be missed so much. What a tremendous human being, fantastic senator, man of courage, of judgment, of character. I'm so proud that the day that I appeared before the Senate for my confirmation hearing, Secretary of Defense, John Warner was sitting on one side of me, Sam Nunn was on the other. John Warner and I, last year, we were both in the Senate together, along with Jim Webb and Senator Lautenberg. We proposed and got passed the new GI Bill of Rights. We won't see a John Warner for a long time. He was a very special man.
Former Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel. Mr. Secretary, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.